Hello, this is John Wolf, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Wind of the Soul podcast series. This is episode number 5, and it's titled, The Inspiration Behind Deliberate Creation. The information I'm going to be discussing in today's episode expands upon the groundwork and the foundation that I laid in the law of attraction. I'm going to be discussing what I feel are 5 key elements for being able to get the most out of the information that I provided. As I said in my last episode, the 5 elements that I'm going to discuss are oftentimes overlooked in circles that speak about the law of attraction and intentionally creating our reality. In fact, I believe that the information I'm going to be discussing, if we begin with it actually makes the implementation of meditating, visualizing, journaling that much easier, because we are doing it from a point of understanding how this information can come together, how it can work. And then we get into the visualization and the meditation, and that just reinforces what I'm bringing forth in this podcast. Prior to getting into the discussion of the 5 key points, I'd like to acknowledge that if it's so important to follow A, B, C, and D to be able to be intentional creators of our reality, why have we not been following those things all along, yet we are creating our reality on a consistent basis? It's true. People are creating their reality every single moment. And primarily they are creating it based upon their responses to their past interactions, their past environmental experiences, the past as to how they've processed it in their mind. And they continue to relive those moments and relive those ways of interpreting concepts, ideas, thoughts, interactions, relationships. And that is how they continue to create in their moment of now, which goes into the next moment of now and the next moment of now. So it's little wonder when we don't get things that are any different than what we've already lived. Maybe the circumstances might seem slightly different, but when we strip it down to the bare bones and we take a look at the experiences, there's not a lot of difference between what we're living right now and what maybe we were living a year ago, what we were living 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because again, it's in the human nature to continue to process information in the manner that we have always become accustomed to doing it. Once we reach a certain age in our life experience, once we become teenagers, adults, our brain and the channels and the tributaries, and if you look at it as a flowing river, has carved out the path in which it consistently processes information. We've got the neurons in the brain and the neural nets that are firing together. And when that information has gotten into a habit and a routine of continuing to be thought of in the same manner, that becomes our filter for interpreting our reality. It becomes the way we, as I was saying, relate to the experiences that are happening right now. So if we stand at this pivotal, crucial point in our life, which is every moment of now, and we process information in the same exact manner that we did 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, 365 days ago, then the next moment of now and the next moment of now is going to continue to be a reflection upon our past. And that's why it's important to start bringing elements in that have us focus our awareness in the moment of now, that have us release our past, forgive our past, allow ourselves to move into different aspects of thought, which moves us into different portions of the brain and our thought processes. And when we do that, we are becoming responsible. We are becoming fully empowered, conscious entities in terms of this physical vehicle, because we will be firing on all cylinders right in the moment of now. We will not divert our attention back to a past experience that was frustrating, that was sad, that had anguish in it, where we felt hurt or depression. We will be able to take the experience, process it in a different manner right in this current moment, and be able to move forward and project into the next moment these new ways of thinking and taking the emotions and working with them in a way that's much more powerful. And when we realize that all of our power is in this current moment of creation right now, and we allow ourselves to move forward in that manner, then things will start to develop differently for us. If we want to deliberately create in a more pleasing manner to ourselves, I stay away from the word success a lot of times because that's a label. And I try not to get into labeling too much because I like to break the concepts that society has right now on certain things in our life, and what we consider successful and what we consider, what makes one person happy is not necessarily going to make somebody else happy. And your measure of success is not going to be the same as my measure of success. So you won't ever hear me discussing exact things that you need to be able to bring into your life to consider yourself successful. I know some teachers out there do that. They talk about how you need to have this, and that to be able to be considered a wealthy, healthy, happy, successful person. And I do not go down that path in the way I relate this information to others, because I feel that if we are going to acknowledge the fact that each one of us is responsible for the creation of our life experience, then no one out there has the capability, the right, nor the ability to be able to tell you what it is you need to create and manifest in your life to be able to be a happy person, a quote unquote successful person. That's up to you. So I want to be able to take this information that's going to be in this podcast and relay it to you in a manner that you can be able to apply it for bringing those things into your life that you want to manifest. You take this information, you can apply it to your relationships, you can apply it to monetary wealth, you can apply it to your job, your career, building something, creating something, anything that you have going on in your life. What makes you happy, and I'll get into that a little bit more, and that's what you can take this information and apply it towards. And now in that same vein that I started on here about how people are creating things while being disconnected from their emotions and their thoughts, the point in that is to provide a balance and a harmony among our thoughts and our actions. And I believe that these 5 elements that I'm going to be discussing, or strategies, will be able to allow us to work with that balance in a way that's beneficial for us. The 5 elements. Number 1, step into the awareness of now. Number 2, establish your purpose. Number 3, to cultivate desire and passion. Number 4, channel your pursuits in a manner which provides benefit to others. And number 5, maintain consistent direction, but learn to get out of your own way as much as possible. Some of the 5 are obviously self-explanatory, but now I'd like to take each one of them and summarize exactly what I mean and what I'm speaking about, because there's a little bit more than meets the eye to each one of these. So we'll start with number 1, quite possibly the most important out of not only this list, but I feel any list that anyone could compile for being the deliberate, intentional creators of our reality. And that is stepping into the awareness of now, which I spoke about in the last segment. The reason that I feel this element is vitally important is because, as I just spoke on, the fact that we can only create from our current point of awareness. We have reference points all around us. We are constantly aware of the fact that we are moving from point A to point B, whether we deem that as forward motion, backward motion, or lateral motion. We are constantly experiencing what appears to be movement through space. We are constantly experiencing what appears to be the aging process. These things are all interpretations of our brain. They're all concepts that have been brought forth to convince us we are moving in a sequential order. Otherwise, the life experience of this physical environment would cease to be a convincing experience. There would be no point to move into this environment in terms of our physical vehicles, in terms of our consciousness focusing in this environment, if it were not for the convincing element of the brain processing the information and convincing us that we are having a sequential experience. I maintain that we are having a now experience all the time. The energy, the essence, the source, the soul, the God, the energy gestalt, to use the Seth terminology again, that is flowing through us is always in the moment of now. We transcend these bodies because that is what is fueling our experience. So we have to step aside and realize that there, for all intents and purposes, there is technically not time. There's technically not time. There's technically not physical space. However, to interact in this environment, these are mechanisms that we have to deal with.